Hello, and welcome to No Expectations Video Store Podcast. I'm Ben.
And I'm James.
And I'm Max.
And today we're talking about the 1998 masterpiece, absolute masterpiece, Small Soldiers.
Yeah, and this was directed by Joe Dante. I believe stars Kristen Dunst, Tom Lee Jones, and Phil Hartman, some other folk in here. I actually don't. This cast is pretty stacked.
It's a stacked cast. You got Dennis Leary, you got David Cross, you've got, we already said Phil Hartman. The dad, we'll have to pull up his name, but the dad, Alan's dad, he was also in an episode of Seinfeld. I knew I recognized him.
Yeah, he's in a lot.
Driving me crazy because he's such a good actor. He's such a good character actor. And I was like, dude, where do I know this guy from? And then I was like, wait a minute. And I looked through his IMDb, and I saw he was on Seinfeld. He was the old friend of Jerry's who Jerry like wanted to end the friendship with. So it was like he was like breaking up with him.
I mean, you're my best friend.
Best friend? I've never been to your apartment.
I cannot believe that this is happening. I can't believe it.
Okay. Forget it. It's okay.
Remember that?
Yeah, okay.
And that was the guy. So yeah, he was great. He plays a good kind of like uptight jerk, but that's what the character called for. And he was great. He was great.
Yeah, I think this is a movie that it captivated our imaginations as kids. And, it was a time when we were playing with action figures, and it just kind of, it was really impactful for my childhood. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah. I saw it on the big screen when I was a kid, and I distinctly remember having it on VHS and watched the heck out of it. And this is one that it fell into our favorites category,
You have it on VHS right now, right behind you.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Should have brought that out. Oh, no. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I don't know if I saw this in theaters. That's actually pretty cool if you did. Shoot, man, I'm a little jealous.
Here we go.
Yep. All right, go ahead. There we go. Yeah.
Beautiful. That's sexy. Yes, look at that. Oh, it's so good. So yeah, it's a DreamWorks film in association with Universal.
That's what it was.
I feel like they could have capitalized a little bit more on the action figures. I wish they had
100%
like the life to life ones, but they did do the Burger King had toys, and I looked on eBay and they did have some toys, but they weren't as good as the ones in the movie. They didn't punch themselves out of the packaging or anything.
Yeah,
they weren't Stan Winston grade.
I had what was it, the bazooka guy? I can't think of his name in there, but he was like something bazooka.
Yeah,
I have his toy.
Nick Nitro.
Yeah, I still have the bazooka guy too. It's boxed up somewhere.
That's awesome.
Only toy, so I have a Small Soldiers.
I had the Burger King toys, definitely. I feel like anytime I see those like retro posts on Instagram of like McDonald's Burger King toys, I have like all of them. Yeah. I feel like, but I definitely remember an Archer toy that I had from Burger King that shot the arrow. He had like this clear arrow that would shoot a string.
I had all of those, but they're all gone. I wish I must have just given them up when I was a yard sale when I was a child, but
we'll rebuild the collection. Yeah, don't worry. But I had a Chip Hazard with like he had like a light up chest. They all had
I had that one too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was the crazy guy with like the mask, the purple guy.
Yeah.
He spins around. Crank was his name or something like that.
I had a little eyeball too, because I think from Burger King as well.
Classic. Yeah. Burger King's toy game was just top notch.
I was talking about this today with someone. You know how they're coming out like popcorn buckets a lot now too. I feel like that's going to be like a thing for a while. Then it's going to die off, and we're going to talk about this, like how movies
used to do it
for a lot for advertising. I feel like through the popcorn buckets, let's bring it back to McDonald's. Let's bring it back to
definitely Burger
King. All of them. We need some good Happy Meals.
110%. What do kids have now? They have their freaking tablets and depression. Come on, what do they have? What I was going to say was like, there's talk. I know we're kind of getting away from Small Soldiers for a second, but it all connects back. So hear me out. The Schumacher cut of Batman Forever, it exists. Thank goodness. It's supposed to be coming out next summer. They're working on getting editors together and people to clean up the footage and, bring it back to perfect quality so they can release it. And I was telling James, like, if they're going to bring Batman Forever back, do it right with like Happy Meal toys and like the marketing that they had back in like 1995 and like really do it up, like do it the correct way, like they would have, 30 some odd years ago.
Yeah, I feel like advertisement now is just like not it. I mean, besides Deadpool, like that's the biggest advertisement of a movie I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, and Dune.
Yeah.
But you're right. Deadpool was, I think, a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, all around the world.
Yeah,
there's so much stuff with toys. Actually, freaking statues of Deadpool. It's ridiculous.
It is crazy.
We need some Batman toys. Again, I think they did a decent job with the Matt Reeves Batman toys that were really.
They did a good job. I remember being excited even before that movie came out and going to like Target and being like, oh shit, like there's actually like Batman and Penguin and Catwoman toys.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's just TV. We don't get those commercials anymore. We're all on streaming.
True that.
So I think
have something to do with it.
they need to just post it on, I don't know, just I guess Reels. Let's advertise toys on Reels. I guess to get influencers to do it for them.
Yes. I remember seeing, I think I posted it actually a few weeks ago before we decided to actually do Small Soldiers, or maybe a month or so ago.
The billboard?
The billboard, yeah. And it was like in California, and there was this giant Stan Winston was the one who did the practical effects and the puppeteering and stuff for and the animatronics for Small Soldiers. But his school, the Stan Winston school, they did like this giant promo billboard for Small Soldiers back in 1998, and it was so cool looking. I'll insert a picture here, but it looks just awesome, and I wish they would bring back that type of advertising. It was so cool. I think it was for like Target or something for the actual toys, but it was so sick. It was so cool.
Well, around that time, there were some other toy movies. We had Toy Story and Gremlins, and even like there were a bunch of TV shows, Power Rangers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So
Street Sharks.
This came at a time where the executives probably thought, oh, wow, this is going to be a good money maker.
Well, the 90s were hot for toys, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the last toy frontier, I think. But yeah, so Max and I actually watched this when you were out of town. So we had a little NOX night in before that was a existing segment. And we did that and we watched it. And dude, I had not watched that movie in probably 20 years. Like seriously, like all the way through. And it holds up.
Yeah,
it really holds up.
Dude, it's crazy because rewatching it, I was like, I don't really need to rewatch this because I'm like, man, I remember a lot of this movie and it's still, like you said, still holds up.
Same, yeah. And it was crazy too because we were watching it and I remember at the end when the dad of Alan is like, hey, even you don't have enough money to take care of this damage. And he's like, maybe you do.
Yeah, what about the pain and the anguish and the humiliation? I don't think even you have enough money to pay for that. Okay, maybe you do.
And I was like, and I'm like, dude, I remembered that, and I have not watched this film in decades, probably since I watched it on VHS. But same for you too, Max. You remembered like a shit ton of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a time where I was super sharp as a kid, you know, and we're growing and learning. So all the movies that from my childhood, I remember almost all the words and all the parts. You know, now I don't really. The movies don't affect me the same way.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but I just remember every moment.
Yeah, it's absolutely the same. I mean, I think it's because, back then that's all we had was like, VHS and a DVD player, and we would just rewatch the same thing. I probably rewatched this movie so many times to like know this movie like front to back.
Yeah. I think that was a benefit of what we had growing up was like we didn't have a million things on streaming. Not to sound like, old man throwing rocks at the kids in the front yard, but like it was just a different time, so it's like you had a set amount of VHS and then eventually a set amount of DVDs, and dude, we watched the shit out of, like, I watched The Lion King so many times. I watched the Star Wars original trilogy so many
Indiana Jones, Terminator series.
Yes. So, like, not to the point of wearing them out, but watching them like a lot. And also, like Max was saying too, like our minds were more malleable at that time. Like we were like absorbing, information, and everything was new. And I think it just, our brain probably recorded a lot more because we're like, when you're like 6, 7, 8, like it's like everything is so fresh. That's why I think summers felt so much longer because you only had so many summers to reference. You know what I mean? It's like you didn't know what a year really felt like. You were still kind of like learning. And now it's like, I'm like, oh my God, this year's almost over. It's like everything goes so fast.
It's crazy.
But yeah, this one was an absolute masterpiece. And watching it in my 30s now, compared to watching it as a kid, still just as good.
Still
just as good. Yeah.
So this was directed by Joe Dante. I know Ben and James, you guys are fans of Joe. What are some other things that Joe's done?
Well, Gremlins has always been like a soft spot to me. Like I always tell him too, it's definitely a Christmas movie, but it can also be a Halloween movie as well.
Yeah. Same set or same town as Back to the Future.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Aside from the Looney Tunes movie that he did, it wasn't Looney Tunes Back in Action. I got to actually look up what other movies he's done.
He did Masters of Horror. Have you seen that?
No.
I think I have, but isn't that like a TV? I think it was like a special episode.
Yeah, it's an episode. Yeah.
He did The Howling, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Which we watched.
Kind of a low point, but some people would say it was great. you know, I know it has a cult following, so whatever, they got back.
Oh, you know what it is? He did the original Piranha and The Burbs.
Oh, The Burbs. Yeah, have not seen The Burbs.
Really?
Have not seen The Burbs. No,
That's a really good Tom Hanks
I have
movie.
not seen The Burbs.
You would really enjoy that one.
I have also not seen Explorers.
Yeah, didn't we talk about that? We should have.
Explorers.
So I think we were gonna do like a Joe Dante movie, like how we did with Joel Schumacher. Let's just watch some Joe Dante movies. Like Explorers might be on there.
Dude, the Twilight Zone movie, that's one I still have not watched.
I had to see it. I don't remember it. I know I've seen it.
I feel like I would have watched it, but like I get this like gross feeling when it comes time to watch it, because like there's been a few times I almost watched it and I just think, do you guys know the story of like how cursed the Twilight Zone movie was?
No.
Okay, so the Twilight Zone movie, there was this actor, I forget his name, and there were these two child actors that were in it, and there was like this Vietnam War flashback scene, and in real life they were filming and they had to go out in the water and the actor had to carry these two children.
I think I remember now,
I think there were three different directors who worked on it. I think it was Joe Dante, Spielberg, and the guy who did American Werewolf in London, John Landis.
Climax of a real-life Hollywood tragedy. Director John Landis and 4 associates taking center stage in a courtroom to face charges of involuntary manslaughter. It is unfolding more than 4 years after a helicopter crashed on actor Vic Morrow and 2 child actors during filming of the movie Twilight Zone.
So anyway, the helicopter crashed and decapitated the actor and cut the kids in half and killed them.
Oh my God.
And it was horrific, and it ruined John Landis's career and obviously negatively impacted the Twilight Zone movie. I wonder why. And yeah, it was pretty horrific. So I can't quite bring myself to watch it yet, but one of these days I think we should.
What movie is that?
The Twilight Zone movie
okay.
from the 80s. So yeah, pretty dark shit.
Gruesome.
Pretty dark shit, yeah. And there's footage of it too that like stayed in the movie. I mean, obviously not the actual death, but like a lot of it is
up to of it.
Yeah, okay. which is crazy. But I almost feel like out of respect for those actors, like you should watch it. You know what I mean? Because it's like their final performance. But it's also just so freaking tragic, dude. So freaking tragic.
So this movie had an all-star cast. We had Kirsten Dunst, we had Gregory Smith, Phil Hartman, Tommy Lee Jones.
Yep.
Crazy.
Dude, fun fact that actually Max and I saw when we were doing just researching the film a little bit. The original choice for the Commando Elites for the voice actors were going to be the cast of Predator. Joe Dante wanted the cast of Predator. So Arnie was going to be Chip Hazard.
Really?
Jesse Ventura was going to be in there. Shane Black. They were all going to be the Commando Elites. But scheduling and I'm sure cost of the actors, it didn't happen. So it ended up being the guys from the Dirty Dozen. So it was like Ernest Borgnine
Dirty Dozen,
and like these older guys, these older iconic actors from like the 50s and 60s did the voice, and then of course Tommy Lee Jones. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so Kirsten Dunst, she had done Interview with the Vampire and Jumanji around the same time. And of course, Spider-Man. And I mean, the list
Bring It On
for her. She's an all-star.
Oh, dude, she's done so many good movies. It must have been so fun. I mean, I don't know what it would be like to be a child actor, but like, can you imagine like you're working on Small Soldiers and like a couple years before you're on Jumanji with Robin Williams. And then it's like, next thing you know, it's like she's in Spider-Man with Raimi and Toby, and just what a cool career. It's like, I know she's kind of
Interview with Vampire too. Tom Cruise,
Brad Pitt.
Yeah. I think her parents must be really good because she came out pretty well adjusted, I think.
Yeah. She seems pretty normal as far as I can tell. You know,
I think most of the time when the child actors get screwed up, it's because their parents are just, they're deadbeats themselves and they just fed them to the wolves, basically.
There's a few that it's like they kind of pulled away too, like the Olsons.
Yeah.
Mary Kate and Ashley. Love them. But I respect it though. It's like once they're adults, they're kind of like, oh, maybe we don't want to do that. And they made millions of dollars. You know, by the time they were like 12, like you're good to go. But then there's some who get effed up, like
Maury Feldman, you know.
He's a strange cat.
Yeah, he's a strange guy.
And who was I thinking of? Amanda Bynes.
Oh
yeah, poor Amanda Bynes.
Anyone who was on Nickelodeon has just got destroyed.
Yeah.
Drake Bell had a rough time. I know he's doing pretty good, all things considered, and he has his music career too, so that's cool.
Yeah,
but he seems like from what I can tell, seems like a cool guy. But I know he went through some shit himself, definitely. So, but yeah, let's get
industry.
Small Soldiers a little bit.
I wanted to talk about like last roles too, because of this was Phil Hartman's last live action role.
Yes, that was his last role, and we're all big Phil Hartman fans. Yeah.
Every time I looked up the story of that, I'm like, oh, so sad.
Oh, it's so rough.
What
Dude, it
happened?
was
Phil Hartman, basically, his wife just murdered him.
yeah.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, she
was very like. You can go ahead and take it away. It's just.
Oh, you go ahead.
Just controlling always. I guess like a lot of their friends would see them fight in public and stuff, and they've told him he should leave her, and I think he was going to, but they were just had a very toxic relationship, and I think she's mentioned like out loud that she wanted to hurt him, and eventually she just did it. I think that was. I don't even want to.
Man, it's the curse of the funny man. I mean, it seems like anyone who's worth a damn in comedy, they just have messed up home lives.
And we got to remember too, at this time, this was 1998, right? We had just at that point lost Chris Farley in December of 97.
Yeah.
It's like that, and then Phil Hartman, like, oof. I mean, that's brutal. That's brutal. Not to mention musicians around that time too. I think 97 we also lost Jeff Buckley. Jeff Buckley passed away. So really tragic. You always think of the 90s being all fun and happy-go-lucky, but there was a lot of loss of talent too that was just crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Phil Hartman's last role, and it is a bummer too, because they like excluded him from a lot of the advertising for the film because it was so soon after he had passed away, and that kind of sucks on one hand because it's almost like, you know, it's like you don't want to remind people of it, but at the same time, it like takes away from his last performance a little bit as far as the advertising. But as far as the movie goes, he was hilarious. He was great, and
I know I've seen this a lot, and I'm like. I don't know. It's always a happy surprise. I'm like, oh yeah, he's in this.
yeah,
Like,
Phil
it's
Hartman's
great.
in it, yeah. No, it's great, and yeah, it was just tragic with her because the wife, I think she offed herself as well.
Yes, she did.
And
The kids heard it. Like they didn't see it happen, but they like,
Horrific.
heard everything.
Yeah.
I believe.
well, I don't want to focus
Getting
too
kind of dark.
yeah, I don't want to focus too much on the loss of Phil Hartman because what we should focus on, what he would want people to talk about, is his great performance and his amazing career.
Yeah.
because he was just such a funny man.
Dude, he stole the show on a lot of movies.
He's amazing. Yeah, he was so good. He was in Jingle All,
All the way, dude.
He was in
These cookies.
yeah, put the cookie down.
Oh, Howard, excuse me, but your wife's cookies are out of this world.
Who told you you can eat my cookies?
Oh, these cookies! I gotta get the recipe from Les.
Put that cookie down now!
But he was in so many episodes of The Simpsons. He was like one of the OG voice guys from The Simpsons. So he had so many characters that they retired after his passing. But he was so great. Obviously Saturday Night Live for such a long time. So Phil Hartman, man, props to him. He was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I think that'll be one that we're gonna probably dive into his career in the future for sure.
Yeah, he was great. Yeah, sorry to be a bummer, but we had to mention it. I mean, because that's a huge part of this, and this being his final film. Like,
And what a great movie to be like to be his final film. That's like it's a good movie to be in. You know?
exactly, and you got to figure how many kids grew up watching that and seeing him, and how many laughs he brought to people. So no, he was awesome. But yeah, the whole cast was stacked, dude. You had Jay Moore, you had David Cross, Dennis Leary, Kirsten. You had probably a couple other people. Tommy Lee Jones, obviously, voicing. And yeah, just absolutely fantastic. And then I kind of want to get into, this is more Max's realm.
Well, aside from the cast, another huge star of the movie was Industrial Light and Magic.
Yes.
They did all the CG, and it was a good mix of like puppetry and computer generated graphics, which at the time was completely a breakthrough. I mean,
It was amazing.
I mean, if you don't know who ILM is, you've been living under a rock. They've done all the Star Wars from 1977 on, Jurassic Park, Terminator 2, the Avengers series more recently, Pirates of the Caribbean, Transformers, Avatar. So if it's computer generated magic, ILM is right there. They're on the books.
And I think they came about because of Star Wars, because of some of the stuff that they wanted to do back in 77. It was so grand and so big and so new. They didn't have anyone who knew how to do that stuff, at least not to that level that George Lucas wanted.
Well, everything they were doing, they were inventing it as it was happening. So
because
it was really like a golden age that they grew up in. It's cool to see that they continued on.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was born because of Star Wars, and then it just took off running, and we got so much cool stuff like through the decades, you know, and they're still going strong, which is amazing. What were some of your favorite effects that when you were watching it? Like, what were some of the things that like kind of impressed you still to this day, Max?
Well, I really couldn't tell the difference. Like as a kid, it looked so real.
It did.
Yeah.
You know, I really couldn't tell the difference between the puppet and the CG. And even watching it with my critical eye now, it's seamless. You know,
Yeah.
it was the, you know, when it's really done right, you don't even know what's happening. You know, it's magic.
Yeah, I feel that when I'm watching the debates. Anyway, sorry.
That was kind of left field.
I liked my scenes. I liked were just like you said, it was seamless. Dude, the Barbie scene when they're all fighting the Barbies was really good. When he was like first introduced with all of them in his bedroom and like Archer jumping onto the table, the end of the table.
Cool.
It just like it looks so real. They did it so well. Like
That really stuck.
it doesn't even, I mean, gosh, these effects really hold up.
Yeah, definitely. And you could see like a little bit of the behind the scenes stuff where you can see how they moved the puppets, how the animatronics worked, and then a lot of it they would like overlay it with CG.
Yeah.
And then they would obviously remove the the strings and the sticks that were moving them and make it look.
Strings and sticks moving them.
Hate to break it to you, but yeah, it looked.
Yeah, they would rotoscope them out.
Yeah, it was amazing. And then there were some scenes where it's like where he's being chased by the dog, and one of the commando elites is climbing. Entirely CG, but it looks so good.
Yeah.
They did such a good job.
Well, I guess.
Bike scene too.
Oh, the bike scene was incredible.
It's fantastic.
It was very much like that Toy Story.
It did remind me of Toy Story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I really like that it was a kid's movie, but at the same time, I didn't feel left out as an adult watching it. There was like some complex subtext about like greed, you know, they had the military in there. And so there was a lot of stuff going on that was a little bit more highbrow that as a kid, I really maybe it went over my head.
I think originally it was actually supposed to be for adult audiences, and then they wanted it more friendly for the family, so they went that route, which I think it was a smart decision.
Oh, of course.
I was watching a thing. I think we were watching it together actually, where Joe Dante had said it was kind of too far along in the production where they were almost done, and there was so much stuff that they had filmed that was like a little more PG-13 as opposed to PG, and because they were originally going to market it to teens and like young adults, and then they're like, no, we need to be more family friendly for the kids, and he's like, well, we already have this and this, so they took out a lot of the explosions and stuff. They still kept a lot of the violence in, but they could only tone it down so much.
Yeah.
So this movie was PG?
I think it's PG, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
But it was supposed to be PG.
PG-13. No, PG-13.
wow.
Surprising. Yeah, I think it was supposed to be like a hard R.
Oh, maybe.
But dude, like even like I remember with Alan getting shot with like what are they, staples? I don't know what they were.
They were little things to pick up corn.
Yeah, that every time I see that scene, I'm like, that would really hurt.
Time to plant the corn. Expect no mercy, Gorgonite ally.
Yeah,
Like,
it definitely was.
It was violent.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
They could have killed those kids. Like
Easily,
they could have killed them.
Yeah, it was definitely edgy, and I think that's what makes it work. If that would have been now and it would have been overly sanitized and overly toned down, and they're like, okay, let's keep it real safe like Minions, it would have been lame. But it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna crap on the Minions.
Yeah, it was definitely like a Toy Story, but for more serious audience. Man.
Yeah, Toy Story walked so Chip Hazard could run.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I love this movie. Yeah, it's just a blast, and it is that perfect time. I know we've said this a zillion times, but like it's that perfect late 90s time where it was a beautiful balance of practical and CG. It was like the perfect marriage, you know what I mean, before everything got too overdone by CG.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
So if you liked this movie, what are some other movies that you two would recommend?
Take it off, James.
Well, for sure, because if it's like artificial intelligence, you would just do like Terminator. Just do with all the Terminator movies, really. Well, 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. Toy Story, of course. If you want the family
Absolutely
movie. Gosh, man, you can throw in some war movies in there too. But Saving Private Ryan, just put them in there.
I would say. That's kind of tricky. Ones that are similar to this because it's so unique.
It is.
You know what I mean? It's so unique. Gosh, I would say maybe Flubber. I would say Flubber would be kind of fun.
Nice, that's a deep cut.
I would say Jumanji. I would say
Jumanji for sure.
It's kind of the similar vibe of like there was a lot of CG, but there's a lot of practical effects, and it's a fun adventure, a lot of imagination coming to life. And you get Kirsten Dunst as well. I would say I don't know. I'm trying to think of another one.
Maybe something more modern. Maybe the Lego movie.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would say
Because
the first
they're
one.
like jumping out of their box in a way. And
Yeah.
I liked Iron Giant.
That's
Oh,
actually
heck
a good
yeah.
one.
And it kind of has those adult themes.
Iron Giant would be perfect.
Warlord themes.
That would actually be perfect. I don't know, Real Steel,
Indian in the Cupboard.
Indian in the Cupboard.
That's a good one.
That's
Not
good.
as good.
It's
No, that's good. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids,
Thora.
sure.
So that's a little bit modern.
Yeah, I would say maybe like the newer Jumanji movies. You know, it's like video game. You know, they get sucked into it. It's kind of the reverse of this. You know, instead of something coming to life in the real world, it's like they're getting sucked into. You know,
When we're talking about toys coming alive, we could also put Transformers in there.
yeah,
G.I. Joe.
Even though they weren't like toys in the movie.
yeah, definitely. Did you guys have any ideas on alternate castings?
I do.
Actually, yeah.
Who wants to kick it off? Max, you want to kick it off this time?
Kick it off, Max.
Yeah.
Get my list.
I thought Alan Abernathy, originally played by Gregory Smith, could have been a Freddie Highmore.
I am a surgeon! I am a surgeon!
Which he's kind of more of a modern actor. He played the kid in the new Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, like the most recent one or
The Disney one.
Okay, the
Wait, you talking about the
Johnny Depp?
one?
Yeah, the Johnny
Okay,
Depp.
gotcha.
Which-
Oh, yeah.
Awful movie.
so funny we're referencing all these.
Kirsten Dunst could have been Emma Roberts.
Okay.
I mean, I got more. I know you tried to cast it with like the same time period.
No, I like it. It's a good contrast.
Phil Fimple, I mean, it's hard to recast him and it almost feels disrespectful.
Yeah.
But Steve Carell could have pulled that off.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You know? Yeah.
I'll do one more. I had a bunch of them. Archer could have been Benedict Cumberbatch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does a lot of voice roles.
He does.
It worked, yeah.
He does.
Any more, or is that what?
That's it.
Okay, yeah.
I don't want to do too many.
I did 4 of them. Start with for Tommy Lee Jones, Chip Hazard. I did Ed Harris.
Solid.
I think just what's the movie? The Rock. I think that's like a perfect example of like his performance in there. Could totally do it.
off this rock.
For Kristen Dunst, for Christy, I did Zoe Deschanel when she was younger.
Okay.
I think Zoe's just a couple years younger than Kristen, or 2
They're
years
close.
older. They're very close.
They're close, yeah.
For Gregory Smith, for Alan, I did Ryder Strong. He was from Boy Meets World. He was his best friend in Boy Meets World.
Okay.
And then
Solid.
he kind of looked like Alan, like that kid who played Gregory Smith.
Sure.
And then for I did. Gosh, who was it? For Archer, sorry, Frank Langella. Is that how you pronounce his name? Frank Langella. I don't know.
Yeah.
I did.
I think it was Langella.
Langella.
I think.
He's already in the movie, but I think he just needs a bigger role. I did Dick Miller. I think he should have voiced it instead of being the truck driver.
Oh, that's right.
I just want him more. I want him more and stuff. Like Joe Dante loves
Great
using Dick Miller.
collaborator, yeah.
I know it's kind of cheating a little bit. If he's already in the movie, but
Cool though.
I would rather him like let's give him Archer.
I agree. I think really good casting.
Yeah, thank you.
Both of you guys, good. For Gregory Smith, the character of Alan, the main kid, I picked Joseph Mazzello, who was the young boy in Jurassic Park.
Nice.
Yeah, I think he would have been cool, and he would have had the in with Spielberg, who produced it. And he only would have been, 4 years older at that point, so he could have been, teenager. Yeah, it would have been good.
That would work.
For Kirsten Dunst, I picked the character of Christy. I picked Anna Paquin. I think Anna Paquin
That's a good choice.
would have been good. Yeah, Fly Away Home a little after that, but she would have been right about the same age as Kirsten, I think, so it would have been perfect. Pre-X-Men. For Tommy Lee Jones, Chip Hazard, I picked R. Lee Ermey, who was from Full Metal Jacket. You guys would know him as like the drill sergeant in pretty much everything.
The Frighteners.
Yes, he was great. And for Archer, Frank Langella, I picked Kelsey Grammer.
That's a good one.
I think Kelsey Grammer had the smooth voice, and it would be awesome. As far as I didn't even think about Phil Hartman because, like James said, it's almost like too much.
I couldn't recast him. I didn't want to recast him.
Let's say we had to. Let's say in God forbid, in a horrible alternate universe, Phil Hartman wasn't around by the time they started filming. And you're like, let's say it's like, oh my God, we have to film next week. Who do we get? Who do you pick? It's like you and Joe Dante in a room. It's like, who do you go for?
Oh, you kick that off.
Okay. I'm going to say, okay, let's just off the top of our head, I'd start going down the SNL line because
that's what I was thinking too.
yeah, I would say, okay, I'd say, Norm would almost be too hilarious though.
But I feel like because if it's in that timer, the SNL cast were young, and Phil Hartman was an older SNL
was the
cast.
older guy,
Yeah. So,
And I think at that time he was actually done with SNL. He was doing news radio when he passed. Well, if we go the news radio route, the guy who ended up replacing him was, I believe, John Lovitz. So I would say maybe I'd consider someone like Lovitz, or also from news radio. I know Stephen Root was one of the actors. He might be good, but no one comes close to Phil Hartman.
yeah.
I have a good one.
Yeah, who's
I
that?
mean, do you remember Home Improvement?
Yeah,
The neighbor Wilson.
Wilson. Okay.
Yeah, his name's W. Wilson Jr. That's the actor. But I think he could have. I mean, he looks just like him, and he was just kind of like that nutty.
Actually, I would have just done saying Home Improvement now. I would have done his buddy. I can't think of his name.
Al.
Yeah. I think he would have done it. Actually, no, he would have been a good Alan's dad.
Actually, you know what? I take it back. You know who I would say for if we had to replace Phil Hartman? Gary Cole.
Yeah.
I would do Gary Cole from Office Space. I think he would be, and from Talladega Nights.
It's funny. I was looking at the VHS Office Space too.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I would say Gary Cole, but it just goes to show. I mean, you can't replace Phil Hartman.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you can try, but even when they did it on news radio, I think that the show ended not long after. So it's kind of like, yeah, he was great. He was one of a kind. Absolutely. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I don't think we're really going to ever see movies like this ever again. I think that was kind of like lightning in a bottle at that time because people were still enthusiastic about the new technology. It was a time when you could market toys to kids and have the commercials. And it was just like the perfect time. I think had it been 10 years later, 10 years earlier, it wouldn't have worked.
It wouldn't work now.
Yeah.
Yeah, today's is just everything is more CGI than practical now. So like I love when they use those like mechanics and the robots, like they build everything. It's just more magic to the movie.
It brings life to
Yeah. And then now it's just, I think the closest thing that we're probably going to get now, it's not out yet, is going to be Beetlejuice. Tim Burton just went to his old ways and used a lot of like his puppetry and everything in that for the new movie, but can't judge it just yet. Just from, that's what I heard from behind the scenes. Like he got his spark back. Like he's excited that he got to do what he used to do for this next Beetlejuice movie.
That's the best. So yeah, he does seem actually like stoked about it.
Yeah.
Love the Keaton.
So are we doing ratings now?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I'll kick it off. I gotta go solid 5 stars, man. This is a solid 5-star movie for me. A, because of the incredible cast, B, because of the great script, and C, because of the amazing effects for the time. You had a great balance of practical and CG, and it still holds up all these years later. So this is a hard 5 out of 5, man. This is a gold star movie.
Yep. I absolutely agree. 5 out of 5. Like you said, script, practical effects, everything that's in this movie. The toys that came from this as well too.
Yeah.
Like, oh gosh. And I still kind of quote this movie too. I mean, like
Commando Elites,
Gorgonites, you know?
Yeah.
So this is such a fantastic movie, and I'm probably gonna watch this more often.
Yeah. I think it might be like a yearly or biannual rotation. You know. What about you, Max?
I'll give it a 4.9. Just
Get out.
I got to give it some space, you know.
I feel
there's got to be a better movie out there.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
I feel like also a big part of it.
I want to give it a 5.
I feel like a big part of it too is like the nostalgia too. But watching it as an adult though, and still seeing everything they had to work with, I'm kind of like, wow, they really like
they knocked it out of the park. They did. I mean, 4.9 isn't because I thought it was not good. It's just I want there to be something better out there.
No, I get you. I respect it. Here's a fun fact. The Kip Killigan toy was not distributed in Oregon, as a teen called Kip Kinkle went on a shooting spree there shortly before the film was released.
Way to just go dark again. This whole episode's just been so
well
twisted and turning.
Small Soldiers is, I think that's kind of good because
that's relevant.
The surface level is like this fun family movie, but there is some darkness.
There is some darkness.
It's these killing machines with military grade chips in their heads that try to kill the kids. So it's kind of like, you know what? We're going to get a little dark. And one thing Max and I noticed when we were watching it was parts of it, even though it's not completely, kind of felt like Goosebumps, like the TV show.
Totally.
Dude, yeah. Right? I can see that.
Yeah. Like talking about it having a little bit of an edge, like
dark twist,
real danger, the score, things coming to life, like a little bit of magic, you know, like, I don't know. It's just cool.
That could have been an R.L. Stein for sure.
It could have been an R.L. Stein. Let's do one more. The scene, this is dark again. I'm sorry, it's so dark. I'm going to say it though. The scene of the commandos attacking Phil Fimple had to be edited down after Phil Hartman's murder because the attack was too brutal.
Really?
Yeah, so I guess they were like really going at him in the original. Yeah, and originally Joe Dante was told to make an edgier film that would be aimed to teens and adults, kind of like we talked about.
Yeah.
But when executives saw the marketing potential of the toys based on the film, they weren't wrong. Sponsor tie-ins came along, and now they were like, okay, we got to soften it up. We got to make it kid friendly. And yeah, so ultimately it got a PG-13 rating with parents complaining it was too scary, profane, and violent, but critics loved it.
Even parents back then, man.
Yeah. So I guess what we're going to do now, instead of doing the wheel, is Max had kind of told us some kind of shocking little shocking news, and I think we got to kind of roast him a little bit on it. He has not seen any of the Rambo films, and James and I are huge Sylvester Stallone fans, particularly First Blood. So I think for our next film, we're going to have to force you to watch First Blood and do a review of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I've always wanted to watch it. I just never really got around to it.
It's a freaking masterpiece.
But first, we're going to have you read the book.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then we expect an essay by the end of the week, no less than 5,000 pages. But yeah, no, it's a masterpiece. And First Blood is one of those. It was actually one of the first DVDs I think we ever got when I was a kid. And I remember watching the heck out of it. I watched First Blood so many times.
I think I watched it later. Like, I think when I watched it was the first time I met you, and you let me borrow the DVD of that one, I believe.
Yep. I can still remember.
You let me borrow a lot of older ones.
Vice versa.
Yep.
Vice versa. I borrowed a lot of yours too. But so yeah, we've been curating the NOX collection since we were about 12. So I just wanted to let you guys know that.
I wish I had friends like you when I was a kid.
Man, we would have gotten along great. Yeah, we didn't meet until we did the Halloween short film. Actually, that's when Max first came into our lives. But I'm glad it happened. Better later than never, right?
What was the name of that?
The Shape of Halloween.
Oh, The Shape of Halloween. Yes, check it out. It's on the channel. So yeah, let's talk about First Blood, man. So this movie, grew up watching it. Huge fan. One of my favorite Stallone movies. I would even dare say I think I like First Blood a little bit more than Rocky. Like the first one. Big fan, but I love Rocky. Rocky's great, but I think First Blood, man, I just watched the heck out of it. Ted Kotcheff, the director, you know what else he directed?
Please tell me.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Really?
Yeah, Weekend at Bernie's and Fun with Dick and Jane with Jim Carrey. So very diverse.
See, I always thought it was Sylvester Stallone that directed it. He directed the future installments, huh?
He directed a lot of them, yeah.
Okay.
He directed a lot of them, except I don't know if he directed the very last one. But yeah, dude, as far
I
as
should be expecting something like Weekend at Bernie's.
almost exactly beat for beat, same plot, everything.
Cool.
But Stallone's gonna be carrying a dead body everywhere he goes.
It's pretty funny, and he's got sunglasses on and a little umbrella drink, and it's really great. But yeah, this one, man, what can be said about it? I mean, obviously we're gonna do a full episode expanding on it, but just like, what are your earliest memories of First Blood?
You know what's funny? Like I don't want to be this person, but I did not like it as much as I do now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because it grew on me.
Of
it
course,
really grew. A lot of movies did that. I just think it was just hyped up for me a lot. I think it was probably your fault.
Of course.
Sorry.
It was like me with vampires.
Yeah. So but going back to it, and like, I mean, probably gonna be like going back to it now is gonna be even better than because it's been probably like 10 to 15 years since I've watched it. Maybe I've watched all the Rambo, and then
Last Blood or whatever
the newest one.
Yeah.
It was all right.
It wasn't crazy about the last one. It was a little too much.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they started getting to that.
Yeah.
But the first one is just, it feels more real, and that's what I really like about it.
It was a real story, and then it kind of, Rambo became more of like a superhero.
Yeah.
Which happens, you know, but I would say if I had to rank them, I would say First Blood, then the fourth one, where it's just Rambo, where he's like out, and like the really
that's the one with
really
the really
bloody one,
right?
Yeah,
that one.
Masterpiece.
Like
that's
that
the second one. Then I would say 2, 3, and then the very last one.
I don't remember 3 that often.
3 was very like Afghanistan, like blowing stuff up, superhero, you know, like, but it was all right. And then 2, I only watched once or twice, and that's the one where he like has to go back to the jungle.
That's a series that I need to own. Like I think I have a couple of them, but I want to get them all on Blu-ray. Like
Yeah.
it's worth it. I mean, it's Stallone. Big fans of Stallone.
Love Stallone.
Also
Also,
Rocky recently.
also shout out to Tulsa King. What a cool show.
I like Tulsa King. Yeah,
super cool.
Season 2, I think it wrapped. Like they're done filming, so
a
we'll be
wrap.
getting that soon.
And then I see you got your Joe Perry book back.
I
Sweet.
did get my Joe Perry.
Very cool. Very cool. You should show it to the camera.
Yeah.
Show the camera. It's pretty sweet. Because Aerosmith did just disband recently. So
Joe Perry, the book, his biography, his autograph is going to be right in the front page here.
it's pretty rad.
It's official.
Pretty rad.
Right there. Yeah, if you
Autograph, nice.
yeah, official Joe Perry autograph. I'll bring up the picture of that I have with him. He's not smiling at all.
He was like, this kid.
Yeah, I mean, I was like
Man.
wearing a Back to the Future shirt. I was like, I was pretty nerdy going to like
That's pretty cool.
a rock star signing. It's still pretty cool.
I, for whatever reason, can't find my picture anywhere, but I'm glad we have proof that we were there. I'm glad that you got a picture with him.
Mm-hmm.
I had it somewhere, but it got lost on an old computer or something. But pretty sweet. I remember he complimented my Cavern Club t-shirt where the Beatles started. He was like, oh, cool shirt. I was like, all right, I can die happy. Joe Perry complimented me. But yeah, as far as this goes, if you guys want to join us for the next episode, we're going to be watching First Blood. So do your homework, watch it, enjoy it with us. And I'll talk about good incentive to work out, man. This was when Sly started really...
Yeah.
He started getting crazy around like Rambo 2, where he started getting like crazy shredded. But this is where it started. He was definitely more fit than Rocky 1, where it's like you could see he was starting to really get more yoked. But yeah, man, just absolutely fantastic. And then what's the sheriff's name? The actor that played the sheriff, the Tommy Boy dad.
I won't remember.
Oh shit, hang on. It's on tip of my tongue.
Tip of my tongue.
He is fantastic. His name is Brian Dennehy. He's great. So anyway, guys, join us next time. And any closing thoughts?
I mean, Max, what do you like to share?
Really excited to see the movie, guys.
We're gonna tie you down. Force you to watch it.
Yeah. No, I just didn't get around to it. I know I mean, there's a bunch of movies I still haven't seen. Godfather. I mean, I don't know what they are because I haven't seen them yet. But there's just a bunch of really notable movies. People, oh my God, you haven't seen that? I feel like that should be one of our categories. Is oh my God, you haven't.
That's actually a really
I love it.
good one. I love that.
I love it.
That's funny.
Anyway,
It's just gotta be Max.
I think that'd be great.
Oh my God, you haven't seen just Max.
Yeah.
It'll be that and Jurassic Park 2 will be our first big ones.
Yeah. So if there are any movies that you know or you have to see but you just haven't gotten around to it yet, post those in the comments.
Yes, please.
Or if there's a movie that
more with us, guys. You know.
Yeah, and if you guys want to drop criticism, go to hell. But no, thank you guys for watching, and as always, be kind.
Rewind.
and subscribe.
Right.
Dude, I gotta watch freaking Deadpool and Wolverine because I've had so many spoilers. It's like I know everyone here now. Not all of them, but I had like, I don't want to say it for the viewers and just spoil it, but there were a few that got spoiled, and I'm just like, dude, I'm gonna have to watch it or they're all gonna be spoiled.
I actually saw that over the weekend.
Yeah, you enjoyed it?
It's one of those movies that you love to hate, and it's really funny, but they destroyed the fourth wall in the first 30 seconds. Like, no, the first second, the fourth wall is already down. He's talking about how Disney and Fox and the funding and all that. I'm like, you could have just waited a little bit and give us that suspension of disbelief. Like, this is a movie, but I guess that's the appeal of Deadpool. You know, there's definitely a certain crowd there.
Yeah, I'm not about it, but I'll watch for the cameos and Hugh.
Yeah.
I'd say it was probably the best Marvel movie that I've seen in recent history because it didn't take itself too seriously.
That's nice.
Then it's gonna go back downhill.
Yeah.
Hopefully not, but we'll see.
Yeah. Anyway, be kind, rewind, subscribe. Bye.
Yeah, bye.